What's up, guys? Shooting this on my cell phone like you already know. Gonna just pan around and show you random stuff while I'm talking because this isn't a visual video, it's just more of an audio kind of thing. So, somebody asked me to share how I got into knives. A long time ago somebody asked me that, and then somebody recently asked me to do a story time. So, figured I would give a quick background of how I got into knives, how it kind of started. And I mean, I think that's an interesting topic just for everybody, really. And I was actually watching Caffeine Junkie's contest video just now, and he was talking about how he got into knives. So figured it was a good time to do it. Maybe you'll enjoy it. I don't know. Anyway, my whole life, being a Southern boy, I've used knives. The very first knife I ever remember getting was a Victorinox Swiss Army knife classic. I think I was in Pensacola, Florida on a vacation. Man, I was young. I would say it's before my parents got divorced. So I had to have been in second grade, first or second grade. So I was carrying around a little Swiss Army Classic, just a little badass, you know, that 1-inch blade. Was going to save the world. Anyway, I used it, and then I eventually lost it, like all little boys do. I didn't really mess with knives very much until my adolescence. I would say 14, I got into these junky Buck multi-tools. They're kind of like Buck Swiss Army knives. I don't even think they make them anymore. But I still have it. I got it when I was 12 years old. And used to just go out in the woods and cut trees down with a saw, like little saplings. Carve wood, whatever you could think of, I used it for that task. I mean, I would make up things to do just to use a knife. Still have it. Awesome little multi-tool. But from then on, I always had some kind of little blade on me, but I wasn't really a knife enthusiast. Fast forward to when I graduate high school, I took off from education for a year. I worked for my wife's dad. He owns a construction company. He's a general contractor. So I was out there busting my butt all day in the heat doing construction, and that's actually what made me want to go to college and become some kind of professional. Construction work sucks in South Alabama when it's 100% humidity and 103 degrees outside. It's terrible. Anyway, I worked with this guy named Steve Dowdy. He carried a Case CV Trapper on him every single day, the large version. Chrome vanadium is the steel. Really basic carbon steel. But it was a case knife, and I fell in love with it for some reason. Had to have one. Went to my local shop, overpaid for it, of course. Paid like $55 for a large trapper. I think that's overpriced. I don't know. Anyway, old man, just blue-collar kind of guy, salt-of-the-earth kind of guy. Very smart, but, I mean, he was just down to earth. Carried that case with him every single day and sharpened it every single day. And I actually got my very first sharpening lesson from this guy. I bought a Smith's pocket Arkansas stone, about that big. Still have that to this day. And on break or lunch, whatever, he would show me how to sharpen the knife. He showed me how to sharpen the knife on that stone, and also the smooth top to auto glass. So if you roll your window down, you'll see that there's this kind of matte finish line on top of the glass. You can actually sharpen your knife on that. You could take it from the Arkansas stone to that glass and get a really respectable edge with it. Anyway, for that year that I worked with Steve Dowdy, practiced sharpening knives, used the knife a lot, and I actually learned how to sharpen. I could just barely get it to scrape hairs off my arm. And mind you, it was digging just gratuitous amounts of skin off. But I would pop a few hairs and think that was awesome. And all my friends, I'd grab their knife, sharpen it up, and it would scrape hairs off, and it was a big deal. I mean, it was a huge deal. Being able to have a shaving sharp knife back then at that young age, especially doing it with my bare hands. It was a big deal. Little did I know, I knew nothing about sharpening. Literally, I knew to take the stone. I can't do it because I'm holding the phone with one hand. But I'd hold it, and then I would just swipe it back and forth. And it kept it respectively sharp. Like I said, nothing special. It would cut. But I knew nothing of the mechanics of sharpening, the physics behind it. Knew nothing of that. Had that knife on me for a while. You wouldn't call me a knife enthusiast until I was about, what'd you say, 22, Chelsea? How many years ago was that? I was either 21 or 22. Went to Walmart and bought a Kershaw OD1. Loved that knife. Still have that one to this day, although it's like a beater donor knife. When I want to try something, I try it on that. But I bought the OD1, and I fell in love with it. Just the action of it, the way you could flip it out. It has an overdrive system, which is really unique. Haven't seen it on any knife since, except the OD2, which was the smaller version of that knife. But anyway, I got into knives with the Kershaw OD1. Really what happened is I realized that I knew nothing about knives, the physics of it, the mechanics of it. So I went on the forums and wanted to learn. I just typed in Kershaw OD1, and I think the very first Google result was a link going to Blade Forums. So I read a lot. I lurked on Blade Forums for a couple months. I think I lurked for 3 or 4 months before actually making an account. And I joined Blade Forums in, let's see, sorry for the pause. Let's see when I joined Blade Forums. Join date 10/23/2010. So, what's that? October 23rd, 2010. Joined Blade Forums, and it kind of snowballed from there. Learned about knives. Really, I was just information hungry. I just wanted knowledge. Really, really, really hungry for knowledge. And the main reason I got into knives is because everything that I was learning was very interesting to me. For some reason, blade steels, all that kind of stuff was interesting. And literally since October 23rd, 2010, I've been like a knowledge vacuum. I read at least 3 or 4 hours a day, random threads, stuff I purposefully look up. I'm just absorbing information all day, every day. And people ask me how I know so much about knives, and that's why. I just read about them constantly. Anyway, fascinated by knives, absolutely fascinated. Next knife I got was a Kershaw Leek, and love the Leek. But I eventually, since I was on the forums, learned about Spyderco and the Tenacious. Bought a Tenacious, and I thought it was it. I mean, the Tenacious was an amazing knife. I never had anything really quality. I mean, the Kershaws were quality, but they didn't have that just really solid feel that the Tenacious had. I mean, full steel liners, albeit skeletonized. It was just an awesome knife. Knew nothing about the steel. Knew nothing about the steel, but it was awesome. I think I literally bought like 3 Tenaciouses? Tenacia? What is the plural of Tenacious? I don't know. Literally bought like 3 Tenacious and absolutely loved them. I thought that was going to be the knife. Learned more, got a sharp maker, and I could finally sharpen a knife just by bringing it down a stone vertically. And I got the knives pretty sharp. Pretty sharp by my standards now, but back then it was really sharp. And it was awesome. Being able to carry a knife and use it and then resharpen it to a sharpness beyond what I had ever had before was fun. It was really fun. It snowballed from there. I mean, 100% of my free time went to knives and learning about knives and buying knives. Bumped up to a Mannix 2, and that was awesome for a while. Then I found my local knife shop, and really, I don't think, without ever discovering Mark's Outdoors, I don't think I would be where I am now, because that shop really facilitated my learning because I just got to put my hands on so many different knives. A lot of people don't have the luxury I do of handling many knives at once. And I'll make blanket statements about quality sometimes, saying so-and-so's quality is bad, or this knife, the fit and finish is bad or good. A lot of people think I'm just talking crap, but really they don't understand that my local shop doesn't buy one of each knife. They will buy 20 of each knife, and I get to handle all 20. So they'll buy 20 Tenacious at once, or they'll buy, I don't know, they put in an order for 25 Rick Hendren knives at once. That's the kind of capital they're playing with, and that's the kind of thing that I get to handle. I don't get to handle one line spy or one carbon fiber paramilitary 2. I get to handle multiple. Mostly, or most of the time, it's 5 or beyond, even with the most high-end stuff you could think of. So that's where my generalities come with quality. It's not just me throwing stuff out there. It's me getting to handle multiples of one kind of knife, so I get to form conclusions on it. Conclusions that most people wouldn't get to form because they don't get to handle the knives. Anyway, off on a little soapbox. Mark's Outdoors really facilitated my learning just due to that. My sharpening started. I got an Edge Pro. I went straight from the Sharp Maker to the Edge Pro. Loved it. It was a really hard learning curve because I honestly didn't know much about sharpening still at that point in time. So I learned all the mechanics of sharpening on the Edge Pro. Learned about burr formation, scratch patterns, apexing. I learned all that on the Edge Pro. And that's how I think I became so proficient at freehand sharpening, because I learned the mechanics on a fixed system, and I was able to translate those mechanics and knowledge to freehand sharpening, and it was just kind of a natural progression. A lot of people ask me how I learned how to freehand. My very first attempt at freehand sharpening was actually on video for my YouTube channel. If you go back in my older videos, the very first video, I think it's within my first 10 or 15 videos, there's a 2-part series with me freehand sharpening. That was literally my very first attempt at putting a knife to stone with the new knowledge I had, and I got a hair whittling mirror polish the very first time. Really amazing. When people ask me how I learned it, I tell them it's kind of like I just discovered a talent I had in a past life. No doubt it was because I had learned the mechanics on the Edge Pro, and I had just read so much. Just so much information was in my head. Really, all I had to do was get the physical part down, and it was easy. Just lock your wrists, lock your elbows, and rock your body, and it's as simple as that. But anyway, that's how I got into knives. It started at a young age and just kind of blossomed from there. And it's turned into this. I mean, I have knives everywhere. Everywhere. I'm really blessed to be able to buy the knives that I do get to buy. And it's not that I just go blow a whole lot of money on knives. It's I'll buy knives, sell knives, trade knives. The stuff I get to buy is just because I don't know, I play the game right, I guess. But anyway, that should answer your question, how I got into knives, and satisfy a little story time. I don't really think you guys would love me to get super in-depth with things, but I guess I could if you enjoyed hearing me talk. I have a few stories I could tell that are mildly entertaining, I think. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to make a video response and inform us of how you got into knives if you feel like it. But go subscribe to Caffeine Junkie and enter his contest. He's giving away a leak that he modified. Looks really sweet. I'll put his I'll put a link to his channel in the description. But 14 minutes. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.